Hi, welcome back to my channel. I share my financial journey and all of the experiences and lessons that I learn along the way. Today I'm going to be talking about the way that I budget, so discussing my monthly salary and how I split that between my expenses and savings, and then working out exactly what I've got left to invest to begin this journey going into stocks and shares. I have watched a number of these on YouTube and I think it's really useful to see the different ways that people approach these, so I wanted to share mine. This may not be appropriate for everyone. It looks quite complex when you start. It's really taking the time to do it initially, and then it's just a matter of putting in a couple of figures each month and reflecting on it. So the first thing that I would look at is my household expenses, because a lot of these are basically fixed. So here I've got my mortgage repayment, and there's two of those there. That's because when I moved house we had to port the original mortgage and then take out a mortgage on the more expensive house. So there's two of them. They're due to expire shortly, so the intention is actually to remortgage, and I can share how I do that if that would be interesting, and looking to try and combine them onto one product. Then it's just the usual sort of utilities and things beyond your control. We've got quite fast internet, so that's quite expensive, but that's the TV as well. And then food has definitely gone up recently. Lockdown, we're trying to get it delivered or go and collect it if we can to avoid using the supermarkets. And I've definitely noticed an increase in how much we're spending. It'd actually be interesting to hear other people's experiences and whether they've found the same. Then foreseeable expenses is a bit of a funny term, because really that's just a bit of a buffer that I like to put into the joint account each month, because there's always something that happens that you've not accounted for. So include that on a monthly basis, and then have a look and monitor the levels in the joint account to see if that needs topping up, or if we've got a bit of extra that can be put into savings. So I've got the monthly cost there. Because I share the bills with my husband, I've got my contribution over there. Just to point out as well, I try and keep some notes just to help me when I put in my diary as well. But it's always, I definitely recommend sort of searching for the best value provider. So it's sometimes easy to lose track of who you're with, so I just find it easy to just make a note of who each company is. Sometimes you'll have a yearly cost, so I can just put that in that column and divide it by 12 if necessary. So yeah, that's my contribution, which is going to come out every month regardless. Then I'd go onto my own monthly budget. So this can be a lot to take in to start with, but I basically split it. So I've got the orange here, which is monthly expenses, and then the blue is yearly expenses. I've got goals in green. Taking the fixed monthly expenses, again, these are things that are really guaranteed to come out every month. There's not really much difference. It pains me to see how much I spend on entertainment, so I mean that would definitely be an area that I could reduce if necessary. But my mobile I'm pretty pleased with. I turned it into a SIM only deal as soon as I'd paid that off. So I'm going to keep that until my phone completely breaks, because that's quite a good saving there. When we're out of lockdown, I play netball as well, so there's just a budget for that. I'm not really spending that now, but that's in there. Moving on to the foreseeable monthly expenses. So these are things that I know I'm going to be spending each month, but they sort of fluctuate. So this is a bit of an estimation. Again, eating out, going out is a lot less in lockdown, so there's some savings to be made there. But probably clothing, I don't buy it every month, but when I do it's probably more than £50, so it sort of evens out. So I try and sort of average it, what it will be each month. Travel again is lower during lockdown, but I keep it on there for now, and just any savings I make is a bonus. Development, sort of books and learnings, but it's probably a bit of a euphemism from all the Amazon orders I seem to be making at the moment. And then unexpected, again, things that I don't necessarily fit into here, the odd bits that you know that you'll probably spend each month, and then that comes to £300. And then going on to yearly expenses, and this is sort of linked to over here, my goals. So I like to think at the start of the year, what am I saving towards? Things like Christmas, holiday might be a bit optimistic at the moment, but looking really at what I want to save and then dividing that by 12 here to work out what that would be. DIY house, again, it's probably not something that you'll spend on a monthly basis, but like to keep it ticking over. Upgrades is sort of big tech purchases. If I'm going to need a new laptop or a new phone or something, I just like to put something away so that I've got a little pot of money sitting there for those sort of purchases. Set aside a little bit of money each month, so I've got those. And then fixed yearly expenses, again, these are sort of things that you could put in this column if you felt it was necessary, but they're things that are going to happen regardless, but I just sort of pay them on a yearly basis. So that's just that figure divided by 2 and then halved because I share a car with my husband. And then along here, they just sort of reach down, so I know I'm going to have to pay that into the car pot, that to fund these, and then monthly expenses into Monzo. So that's that figure and that figure combined. And what I do is I use Monzo because I think that's a really good bank account for sort of managing your money, because the app's really accessible on your phone and it lets you create little pots. So it's almost like having several piggy banks, but on your phone. And I think if you're self-disciplined enough, I know people use cash wallets, but I find actually just having it on my phone a lot easier. So what you can do is set up a pot for each of these and just add to that on a monthly basis. I've put savings here £1,000. That's just something I sort of want to happen regardless as well, so that's just worth mentioning. That's not necessarily all of the savings, but that's just a pot that will build up over time. So I've got that pot going into each Monzo pot there, and then this one, £436, goes into sort of the main account on Monzo. And what you can do is see, I'll try and put a photo here, but you get to see how much you spent as the month progresses, and it lets you know how much budget is left. It's really good because you get notifications on your watch or on your phone about how much you spent that day and how much you've got left and when you're approaching the end of the budget. So I find that really good. I can actually probably do a separate quick video on Monzo because I think it's really helpful in managing budgets. These are sort of an estimation. These are the fixed things. So I've got what I think I'm going to be spending each month. So then what I do is put that on a separate sheet and got income here, and then just taken from the other sheets exactly what I think I'm going to be spending. So that's really a fixed cost. That should be a fixed cost each month, as will that be, and that's sort of the rough estimation of the budget that I've allowed myself. So that total comes to £1,841. So I've got an additional, compared to the income, of £258 left to spend. I've got that £1,000 savings there, but if I need any extra savings, I can put that towards it. But what I'm going to be doing is looking to put that into my investment. So whilst I've got that additional funds at the moment, that's what I'll be doing with that. And I just put this in here for the purposes of this video because what's really recommended is, in terms of trying to split and sort of doing a little recce as to how you're spending your money, is approximately 50% on needs, 30% on wants, and 20% on savings. So I just thought it would be useful to have a look at what I'm spending there. Yeah, so it should be about 1,000. So I'm going over a bit there, but I mean, I've counted all of that there. So my sinking funds really are part of savings, and then the wants is less probably, so that sort of factors it in. And the savings, again, I've already got a little bit factored in, but that's a bit on the low side. So that's something that you might want to do and just have a look and compare it for those purposes. Do that at the start of the year, and then I also like to just monitor that spending, because particularly the £436, that's really sort of maximum. I don't want to be spending that each month, and I want to be saving where I can, particularly when you look at things like this. And as I said, the travel is not going to be happening as much during lockdown. There's definitely scope for saving. So what I do is try and look at that on a monthly basis. So I've got the Monzo app, which will track the spending, and then I like to put that in at the end of each month and compare. So again, sort of income, what's going into the joint account each month, what's going into my saving pots in Monzo each month. These are pretty much fixed. I mean, they might go up and down. For example, if the energy bill increases, or the mortgage deal, when that expires, that might have to change. But for now, I've just sort of got those in there. And then in this row here, I'll put in what I actually spend, and then the spreadsheet will calculate how much I've either saved or gone over. And then I've got a running total here. That's obviously wrong at the moment because I've already pre-filled what the intended spend is. So remember that it's 436, so if I spend £400 in February, that would demonstrate a saving of 36. If I went over and did 500 in March, that would balance that out there. So yeah, I just find that useful, and it's a good way to make yourself accountable at the end of each month, because you know you're going to have to put this on the budget and see the impact on the savings which you could make. Yeah, that's sort of what I do. I know it can look a bit complicated. Some people might prefer everything on one sheet, but I sort of like the tabs, being able to see exactly there what I want. And then, as I said, it's just reflecting weekly, monthly basis, particularly using Monzo, to see how it fits in and where things need changing. I also like having the household stuff at a glance, and I can sort of see exactly where we're spending over and where we might want to look to save. I hope you found that useful and borderline interesting. I think it's really fascinating to see how people spend their money, how they allocate it, what they estimate. So that's just something that I use. I'll reflect on that each month. I can do videos on that as well. If you found it useful, I'd be really grateful if you could subscribe to my channel. And if you would like a copy, please comment in the comments below, and we can discuss sort of emailing something over or working something out. Thank you.